You wake up with big plans. Today's the day you're finally going to start. You'll work on that side hustle. You'll learn about investing. You'll finally take control of your money. You even open your laptop. But somehow, 2 hours later, you're still scrolling. You check your bank account. It's lower than you expected. Again, you tell yourself you'll fix it next month. You'll start saving next month. You'll start investing next month. But next month turns into next year. And the worst part? You're not clueless. You know about budgeting. You've watched the finance videos. You've seen people your age building wealth, which creates a frustrating thought. If I know what to do, why am I still stuck? If that sounds familiar, this video might change how you see productivity, discipline, and money forever. Because the real reason ambitious people stay lazy isn't what most people think. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Look, most advice about productivity and success sounds like this. Delete social media, wake up earlier, build discipline, use better apps. And sure, those things can help, but they don't fix the real problem because the issue usually isn't knowledge. It's not intelligence, and it's not even discipline. The real issue is something far simpler and far more powerful. Inertia. Now, you've probably heard that word in physics. Objects at rest stay at rest. Objects in motion stay in motion. But what most people don't realize is that the same law applies to your life. If your habits are lazy, passive, and reactive, you'll keep repeating them. Not because you're incapable, but because starting requires energy, and your brain hates spending energy, so it chooses comfort, and this creates a dangerous cycle. You avoid the hard task, you distract yourself, you feel guilty, you lose confidence. Then slowly, you start believing something that isn't even true. I'm just a lazy person. But here's the truth. Most ambitious people aren't lazy. They're just stuck in psychological inertia, and understanding how that works is the first step to breaking it. Let's start with something almost everyone experiences. You sit down to do something productive. Maybe it's working on a business idea. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's finally learning about investing. But instead of starting, you check your phone just for a minute. Then you open YouTube. Then you scroll Instagram. Then suddenly, an hour disappears. Now this looks like laziness, but something deeper is happening. Your brain is making a calculation. Hard task equals effort. Effort equals discomfort. So your brain searches for an easier reward. And today, rewards are everywhere. Notifications, videos, endless scrolling. These are instant dopamine machines. Think of it like junk food for your attention. Cheap, easy, and incredibly addictive. Meanwhile, the productive task feels heavy, like pushing a car that isn't moving. That's inertia. And here's the trap most people fall into. They think the solution is motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It shows up when things are easy. It disappears when things are hard, which means if your system depends on motivation, you'll stay stuck. And this is where the first shift happens. Successful people don't rely on motivation. They reduce the energy required to start, because starting is the real battle. Think about a moment you've probably experienced. You plan to go to the gym. All day you think about it. You imagine the workout. You imagine the results. But when the time actually comes, you suddenly feel tired. You say, I'll go tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. Now here's something interesting. Let's say instead of telling yourself you're going to do a full workout, you tell yourself something different. I'm just going to walk into the gym. That's it. No pressure to train. No pressure to stay. Just walk inside. Sounds almost pointless, but something powerful happens. Once you're there, you usually keep going because objects in motion stay in motion. Momentum starts building. The same thing applies to money and productivity. Let's say you want to start investing. Your brain imagines learning everything. Stocks, ETFs, taxes, strategies. It feels overwhelming, so you delay it. But imagine a different approach. Instead of, I need to master investing, you tell yourself, I'm going to learn for 5 minutes. Just 5. That tiny action breaks inertia, and small actions compound. Here's a simple example. If someone invests just $5 a day, that's $150 a month. Invested at an average 8% return. After 20 years, that's over $90,000. Not from huge effort, from consistency. But consistency only happens after one thing: starting. And most people never start. But this isn't even the deepest problem, because the real issue isn't laziness, it's identity. Look, the way you see yourself shapes everything you do. If someone believes, I'm bad with money, they avoid learning about money. If someone believes, I'm not disciplined, they avoid challenges. And if someone believes, I'm lazy, they stop trying. That label becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now think about how this usually happens. You procrastinate a few times, you miss a few goals, you delay something important, and suddenly you create an identity from a temporary behavior. I guess this is just who I am. But that's not true. You're not lazy, you're untrained. Think of discipline like a muscle. If you've never exercised it, it feels weak, but weak muscles grow stronger with use. Here's a simple story. 2 people decide to improve their finances. Person A watches hours of videos. They feel motivated, but they never take action. Person B does something tiny. They open an investment account. They put in $50. It feels insignificant, but psychologically, something changes. They become someone who invests, and identity matters more than intensity. Because identity drives habits, habits drive results, and results shape your future. Most people try to change their results first, but the real change happens when identity shifts. I'm someone who takes action. Once that belief forms, everything starts moving. And this is where things get interesting, because there's another invisible trap that keeps ambitious people stuck. It's called the perfection trap. This one quietly destroys progress. Here's what it looks like. You want to start a business, but first you need the perfect idea, then the perfect plan, then the perfect timing. So you research and research and research. Months pass, nothing happens. Now this feels productive, but it's actually a form of avoidance. Perfectionism is procrastination wearing a suit. Your brain convinces you you're preparing, but really, you're protecting yourself from failure. Because starting something imperfect means risking embarrassment, risking mistakes, risking judgment. So your brain chooses safety, but safety has a hidden cost. Time. And time is the most expensive thing you have because money compounds. Skills compound, experience compounds, but only if you start early. Let's say someone starts investing at 22. They invest $200 per month. By 40, they could have around $100,000. Now imagine someone waits until 30. They invest the same amount. They end up with roughly half. Same effort, different timing. That's the cost of delay. And delay often comes from perfectionism, waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the truth. Perfect conditions never arrive. Progress belongs to people who start messy, who start small, who start now. Now this leads to the most important shift in this entire video. If you're ambitious but lazy, your real goal isn't to become ultra-disciplined overnight. That's unrealistic. Your goal is to reduce friction. Friction is anything that makes action harder. And your life is full of friction. Your phone distracts you. Your environment encourages comfort. Your habits reward procrastination. So instead of fighting your brain, you design your environment. For example, if you want to invest more money, automate it. Set up automatic transfers to an investment account every month. Now, discipline isn't required. The system works without you. If you want to work on a side hustle, make the first step ridiculously easy. Instead of build a business, start with work on it for 10 minutes. That's it, 10 minutes. Sounds small, but remember inertia. Once the wheel starts turning, momentum builds. And momentum is powerful. This is how people transform their lives, not through massive bursts of motivation, but through tiny actions repeated consistently. Small actions change habits. Habits change identity. Identity changes destiny, and the person who once believed they were lazy becomes someone unstoppable. Look, if you feel ambitious but lazy, you're not broken, you're not behind, and you're definitely not alone. The real problem isn't that you lack discipline. The real problem is inertia. Your brain prefers comfort. It avoids effort. It delays difficult things. But the moment you take one small step, everything changes. Momentum starts, confidence grows, identity shifts, and suddenly, the life you imagined doesn't feel so far away anymore. So, here's the challenge. Today, don't try to change your entire life. Just break inertia. Invest your first $10. Work on your idea for 5 minutes. Read one page about money. Take the smallest possible step, because the first step is the hardest. But once you're moving, you're unstoppable. And if this video helped you see things differently, make sure you subscribe for more videos about money, psychology, and building real financial freedom. And in the comments, tell me this. What's one small action you're going to take today? Because momentum starts now.